and the Exeter Ambiguous team. Almost done with the champion select, roaring through it with quite some speed. Let's close down a few programs on my end. The Plymouth Warriors taking a lineup of, looks like Gangplank, Jarvan, Nami, Caitlyn and Victor onto the Rift, while the last pick still remains to be seen for Exeter Ambiguous, living up to their name. Darius, Udyr, Janna and Lux already picked. The last pick looks like it's going to be Jinx. Bans, we can spot down the bottom Graves, Poppy, Vayne, Malphite, Mundo and Tamkench. Some relatively standard looking bands there, though the Vayne is a little bit interesting. I'm very interested to see what we get coming out from this Udyr. That Pashar, I guess I would have to assume is how you say the name, is bringing onto the Rift. Not the most common, but certainly looking at some of the champion win rates recently, a very powerful pickup. Jarvan for the Plymouth Warriors. Again, someone who hasn't been seen too often, though doesn't seem to have the same universal success. I'd be interested to see what the Plymouth Warriors are going to bring out as their main strategy. It looks like we're going to be seeing something like the Jarvan Cataclysm being comboed into large amounts of AoE, coming out from Swirly Panda, Jamstack getting in those Piltover Peacemakers, while Spiteful on Nami gets those knockups and bubbles. So it's certainly going to be a bit of a nightmare for whoever gets caught up in that torrent of abuse. Whereas for the Exeter Ambiguous, it's a little bit less clear, and I'm probably going to try and make less kind of jokes about their name. But let's see what they've got going for them. They've got certainly quite a lot of beef on their team from Udyr and Darius, both very strong, able to take a lot of damage. A lot of relatively long range poke coming out from Ezreal and from Lux. And Janna able to help a lot with the disengage, and occasionally, if they're particularly ferocious, with the engage itself. But I suppose making a wild guess and random suppositions, we're going to see a more keep-away style of play from the Exeter Ambiguous team, while the Plymouth Warriors look to try and lock down an individual target and murder them with reckless abandon. As to how well that's going to work, I'm not sure. I think, given good enough positioning, we might well see Harpoon Harry able to get into place to be able to use the Monsoon to push the intended target of the Plymouth Warriors' Wrath right out of that Cataclysm. But it does tend to rely on Exeter being aware of that being a possibility soon enough. Obviously, in the context of a team fight, that's certainly going to be the case. But if someone gets caught without Harpoon Harry there to help them out, then it might be an entirely different story. Having a quick look through the summoner spells we've gotten in here so far. It's looking fairly standard. Interesting choice of Cleanse for Swirly Panda in the middle lane as opposed to the barrier on Void Formula's part. I'm just having a quick look through to see what is it. I'm assuming that Swirly Panda is worried about getting that combination of being locked in place and horribly murdered by Lux's skills, as potentially as well as from the Udyr. Looking to stay mobile, presumably going to see a little bit less, obviously a little bit less survivability overall by taking the cleanse, but I'll be interested to see what kind of plays Swirly Panda's looking to make with that one. Looks fairly standard down line otherwise. The bottom lane, it's a little hard to say. As far as how that will play out, both AD carries pretty good at getting the poke down while remaining relatively safe. Both supports more or less the same. The sustain advantage slightly in the Plymouth Warriors' favour, since Nami has the heal, which in a short engagement, Janna's shield more or less functions like a heal. But if we do see heavy trades going down in the bottom lane, I have to feel like it's going to go slightly in the favour of the Plymouth Warriors, assuming they can land those sometimes tricky to land skill shots. Wisher obviously has the same issue with most of his damage being reliant on being able to get that shot past the minion. So we'll be interested to see how the bottom lane does play out. Top lane, Golden Scarab gun against Nice Dykes. I would have thought Nice Ducks had the advantage in that top lane, but it will not be too long, and I realise that I've left on the shoutcasters from the previous series. I do apologise. Just turn it off for the time being. Yeah, but as we get into this game itself, as it loads up onto the Rift, as far as overall, it feels like the Plymouth Warriors have a pretty reasonable team lineup compared to Exeter Ambiguous, but it's worth bearing in mind the placements of these two teams in the tournament. The Plymouth Warriors currently in the 43rd place, whereas Exeter Ambiguous in 29th. Not as big of a gap as it sounds, but still, we'll have to see if there's any kind of intimidation from the Plymouth Warriors. It doesn't seem like going from the more aggressive picks like there is. It's worth bearing in mind for anyone as well who's watching who's not a member of these teams. Exeter and Plymouth are very close together geographically. A lot of rivalry between these two sides. Between these two cities and potentially between these two sides. It should be, assuming on a little bit more loading, very soon to get with the Rift. A quick knock through the Masteries while we're waiting. Still, Thunderlords, a few Thunderlords scattered around. Spiteful going for the Thunderlords down the bottom lane, indicating that she's looking to go for a more aggressive stance, which makes sense for the team. We're seeing more fervour of battle turning out for, certainly on the Plymouth Warriors lineup, with both Jamsack on Officer Caitlyn and Shiri on Jarvan, both taking that further battle, looking to get into those slightly longer trades to get the most use out of that one. Whereas on the Exeter team, we're seeing more kind of standard pickups. Interesting, we're seeing Golden Scarab going for the Grasp of the Undying, I believe, which does tend to speak to a more, looking for a more measured approach to the top lane, since with the Grasp of the Undying allowing him to heal up and survive some of the poke coming out from Nice Dyke's Gangplank. Alright, we are onto the Rift itself, as both of these teams make their way out. I'll be very interested to see if either of these teams go for early aggression. I'd have to think that the Plymouth Warriors have the potential to win big if that does happen. At level 1, Pashar, not with the best crowd control unless he starts out with that bear stance, which seems deeply unlikely. It would really hurt his jungle if that does happen. The ward does not get taken down by the Plymouth Warriors though, so it's going to impede their attempts to harass Exeter at their own blue buff. Still, it's an important early engagement for Exeter to be able to hold on to, since without that blue buff, Udyr is going to have some real trouble. It looks like Plymouth has been put off by that failure award. They've got, still saying that they do know for certain where Pashard's starting, and so much can't be said for Exeter. We'll have to see if that makes a difference. Doesn't look like Spiteful's going to go for any cheeky level 1 counter jungling shenanigans. Both teams choosing to stay with their bottom laners, get that good start for their junglers, give them a head start in the jungle, get them moving as fast as possible. Item wise, nothing too crazy so far. Let's get these guys rearranged a little bit more of a logical fashion. There we go. As the laning phase starts, we are seeing some early aggression from Swelly Panda, and it looks for the moment like Bashar is not going to be punished for having that vision on him early on, but that's going to provide at least some relief for Swelly Panda, knowing that there isn't going to be any kind of cheeky early attempt in his life, and he can afford to be that little bit more aggressive. I'll be interested to see if the Plymouth Warriors do make any attempt to keep track of Bashar in the jungle with any additional wards, or if they're just going to rely on knowing where he starts, giving them a reasonable idea of where he's going to end up and when. as far as Shiri goes, the Plymouth jungler, similarly farming up, they're pretty much parallel to each other at this point. Working away through the jungle. We're seeing a ping coming out on Exeter side, be seeing some potential, and a potential for disappointment if the junglers do continue to just farm. We are seeing some movement on Pashar's part, potentially heading towards the middle lane. Swirly Panda is taking a little damage, but it's a tough gank unless we can see Void for Mela land that binding and keep Swirly Panda in place, which is not the easiest thing when he's brought the cleanse to the party, so if worse comes to worse, he can just walk out of it. So far, the lanes look relatively even. Nice Strike's falling a little bit behind in CS compared to Golden Scarab, though I'll have to have a quick check and see if there are any minions outstanding. A little bit surprising, considering the range disadvantage that Golden Scarab's labouring under. But I suppose as well, it's what we said, that it's always going to be a choice on Gangplank between using your parlay to farm and get that extra gold, or using your parlay to harass. Nice X and Golden Scarab are going at each other a little bit more. The Grasp Undying work out pretty well for Golden Scarab. It looks like he's being able to quite comfortably heal through Nice Strike's damage, and it's looking a little bit dangerous. Both junglers are heading up towards the top lane, though it looks like we're seeing Shiri falling back. It doesn't look like there's going to be any aggression from Plymouth up in the top lane for now, but it could turn nasty if Nice Strike does not extends too far and falls into the clutches of Pashar, who is very much ready for that to happen. Though, of course, it's quite aware that Nice Strike isn't feeling too aggressive right now. In the mid lane, though, it's worth keeping a track of Swirly Panda and Void for Mela CS. Quite a big disparity at this point. There's also looks to be the beginnings of a gank starting in the middle lane. Didn't quite pan through though. We can always use the director camera to give us a clue about these things, because if it doesn't show it, it's probably not important. Looking at the CS in the bottom lane, it still remains fairly even as we see the first pause of the game come out. And some delightful sportsmanship from our players, being concerned for each other. Looks like we might be seeing some re-logging going on from the Plymouth bot lane. So let's have a quick talk through what's happened so far, as we've yet to see any ganks, or any serious attempts at ganks so far. I have to think it was a bit of a mistake on Exeter's part to try and go for that early gank when they have cleanse for Swirly Panda. Possible that they're just trying to burn it early, so that once Void for Mela hits level 6, they actually are able to lock down and kill Swirly Panda. Certainly going to, certainly potentially a potential strategy, which does make sense. Just so you can enjoy not listening to these guys make fun of each other, because it's getting rather infantile. I'll turn off the chat for the time being, because there's going to be quite a lot of spamming, I suspect, as these guys wait for each other. Wait for the Plymouth bot lane to stop having connection issues. I do believe, actually, that the Plymouth team live in the same accommodation, so it certainly makes sense. And the same issue. Night Strike's in trouble up in the top lane, has to flash. No follow-up aggression from Golden Scarab. Quite happy just to push Night Strikes out of lane and into trouble. The junglers find each other in the river as well. Nothing too serious, but Plymouth suffering a little bit up in that top lane, and thus far their jungler not choosing to spend their time there. In fact, so far hasn't actually picked up their jungle item. I'm interested to see. I mean, apparently it hasn't hurt them any so far. They've certainly keeping up on CS, though it's interesting. I'm not sure if they were afraid of Shiri falling behind if they went back for the jungle item, but it seems to be happening now at least. CS remains fairly consistent down the bottom lane. A small lead for Exeter, but the aggression, lovely knock up there. Spiteful gets a return bubble, but here comes Bashar coming out of the jungle. Spiteful maybe a little bit too close. Jamstack keeps away with the 90 caliber net, but Plymouth able to walk out of it, and no level 6 yet, so no follow up with the Ezreal ult to finish the job off. Spiteful able to walk the one off, barely, but it was a close thing. Plymouth very, very slightly in the lead, gold-wise at the moment, but it's minuscule. And the pressure's starting to show in both the top and bottom lane. We potentially could be seeing a gank coming in from Shiri, but they walk right into a ward. Still, they get to get rid of it, and it doesn't look like Shiri's quite done quite yet, potentially. We are seeing some roams happening from Exeter's mid lane. I'm not sure if they're looking to be in position for a potential gank on the top lane, or if they're just trying to take Rift Scuttler. I think it may be the latter. Golden Scarab finding the cheeky pink ward in the bush, takes care of it. Shiri's still deep in the red side jungle. Doesn't look like he necessarily wants to pursue matters any further though. Going to recall. And Nice Stikes, still potentially struggling, is doing a good job now at least of avoiding those apprehends, not getting pulled in, and not playing to Golden Scarab's strengths of being able to force him to play very close up. Still, it doesn't seem like the harass from Gangplank making too much of an impact on Darius. A big CS discrepancy, which I can't think is going to get too much better. Unfortunately, or possibly intentionally, it's hard to tell. Those two barrels not quite connected with each other. Keep an eye out on that Udyr though. We do see Bashar making his way down with his mid laner, but it looks like the attack has been called off. They might run right into a Swelly Panda though if he's not careful. It looks like for now, surprisingly, Exeter don't want to pursue this any further. Perhaps they were afraid of Shiri coming in with some counter-aggression. Dragons yet to be threatened by either team, as Exeter do pull ahead very, very slightly, and this is still a very, well, it's an incredibly close game between these two teams. Neither team really giving up any significant advantage yet. No real attempts on towers, no real attempts on dragons either. The CS difference in top lane in the favour of Exeter being matched similarly by CS difference in the mid lane in favour of Plymouth. I have to think that on balance, I would imagine that the mid laner getting the money, the gold advantage would be slightly more important than the top laner, but we'll have to see. I mean, certainly Gangplank's global ability to affect the map with his Cannon Barrage, not greatly affected if he goes down money-wise. And as he scales up, he's certainly able to farm waves pretty darn well with his barrel. So, as far as if it's going to be even in this kind of fashion, I have to think that it's slightly in the favour of the Plymouth Warriors. Swirly Panda certainly putting Voifamela? I'm going to go with Voifamela. Under a huge amount of pressure, pressing them back against their own turret, keeping them from getting that CS, and keeping them from becoming a similar long-range threat in the same nature as Nice Stikes. Really nice lasers coming out from Swirly Panda, and one of the weaknesses of Lux, of course, being she doesn't have any kind of ability-based abilities, not able to dodge out of those lasers particularly well. Nice Stikes could well be in trouble. Is he going to get baited into the paws of the Udyr Pashar? It's looking very tight. Pashar obviously thinks it's a possibility, but Nice Stikes not really being forced to go out quite yet, and Pashar looks like he's quite ready to recall and call it wasted time. Even if he didn't realise it, that's a big win for Nice Stikes. And now's the time he gets apprehended. I don't think he knew that the Exeter jungler was there, but certainly played appropriately nonetheless. We do see Plymouth making the attempt on the first dragon. They've got those Yordle snap traps up. So much long range, and it does not get them the dragon. Exeter could be in trouble. Wisher is getting taken down so low. Lovely bubble, but the great block from Harpoon Harry keeps there from being any kills. We're 11 minutes into the game, and still no kills. Still the gold very even. First dragon going across the Plymouth. Very nicely taken, and what an almost disaster for the Exeter team, which was covered for very well, but might have shaken them up in what is otherwise a very, very close game. Goal still slightly in the favour of the Exeter team, and interestingly, I didn't even notice this, that Golden Scarab hadn't recalled at this point. At least I assume he hadn't recalled, because he was still on his basic starting item, able to buy a large amount of the components of the Black Cleaver. Nice Dykes, as you might expected, probably building up to the Triforce as a similar response item, though it's quite possible we might, but it's a little unlikely. We might be seeing one of the other Triforce items, potentially a Frozen Fist if you're concerned about the amount of attack damage on the Exeter team, which I don't think, yeah, we'll see. I think obviously vastly more common for it to be the Triforce. It's certainly going to up the punching power of Nice Dykes a lot, and hopefully make up for what hasn't been an incredibly stellar start. Though Nice Dykes has been receiving a lot of attention from the jungler, Golden Scarab trying to chase him down, has the potential kill here, going underneath the turret, gets the first blood. We do see Plymouth coming with the response play, but in the bottom lane, the aggression continues to come out from next to the team. Nice! Jamsack's in trouble, all of the healing in all the world could not save Plymouth from going down 2-0. Swirly Panda's in trouble as well. Nice Cataclysm onto Golden Scarab, that's going to be surely a kill in the bank for Shiri. One at least on the board for Plymouth. But man, really nice play from Exeter. Getting, particularly in that bottom lane, so aggressive. It seemed to catch Plymouth completely off guard. And Jamsack couldn't be saved by even all of the counter-engaged tools that Spiteful was able to bring to bear on Army. Notably, we're seeing Bashar recalling in the Plymouth jungle. Apparently, the Exeter quite comfortable in pushing their limits up further, despite the fact that so far no turrets have been taken. They have got that pink ward down in the Plymouth jungle, and that's going to give them that little bit of information. We'll have to see if it's found out anytime soon. I think Sherry's about to walk right through it. But so far, well, with that first blood, with that extra kill as well, that's pushing Exeter into the lead as far as gold goes. We'll have to see if that translates into significant item purchases. We do see the Boots of Swiftness picked up for Golden Scarab. I'm going to check if I remember the right name there. It is Boots of Swiftness. With the Alacrity enhancement as well, just doubling down on that straight movement speed. Swirly Panda goes in and blows to pieces Void Formula. And it's, wow, that's just an absolutely ridiculous amount of damage coming out from Swirly Panda, and I hope that he's going to be able to apply that success which he's been having so far in lane. If not in the top lane, which is having a hard time, at least down the bottom lane, and it looks like that is going to be the case. We see Plymouth coming in, they're spotted out by the pink ward, and even before that they took a True Shot Barrage to the face. Are they going to continue this fight? The knock-up comes in, Wisher has dashed away with that. Harpoon Harry could potentially still be a victim though. Nice tower aggro management by Plymouth. Shiri could be in trouble, he's about to walk into the paws of Bashar. This could be a disaster for Plymouth. The stun that has been dropped, but they can't put enough damage out to keep Golden Scarab from coming in. Nice Dykes does not have the teleport, he can't do anything about this. Exeter push through, surely going to take the first tower of the game. And a huge disaster for Plymouth, who maybe overestimated their ability to stay down the bottom lane. Bashar, very confident. Wisher may have made a mistake. He has to get away very quickly. And you don't mess around with a Swirly Panda. He's been bringing a lot of pain all game. But still, even he has his limits. Not quite powerful enough yet, even with all of the AoE at Victor's command, to be able to take care of Exeter by himself. But still, we'll have to see how that plays out over the course of the game. That the Plymouth team have relatively strong area effect damage from Swelly Panda to particularly recommend them, but that fight did not seem to play their strengths. Spiteful does spot out the danger in the bottom bush, but it may be too late. The flash has been burnt, and they do get the final hit. Jamstack gets the kill. Is he going to get a second? No, nice flash there from Harpoon. Manages to keep their AD carry safe. Golden Scarab actually driven off the top lane turret, which is going to be pretty big for Plymouth, as it means they're going to buy time for Nice, or rather, he's going to allow for the time for Nice to get there and potentially slay that turret, keeping Plymouth from spiraling too far behind as they start dropping turrets. Bashar is going to come in on this blue off, gets knocked up, gets knocked out. Swirly Panda gets a kill. Another kill, in fact. Their second of the game. Golden Scarab trying to go in, trying to get the last bit of damage on the tower. Are Plymouth in position to punish this? They're just a little bit too far away. The awkward angle. No, Golden Scarab pushed away by Nice placement on those barrels. Golden Scarab gets the kill on the way out. Is he going to get taken down in return? He does. That's another kill into Swirly Panda, while Jamstack gets taken out in the bottom lane. I don't even know what happened there, but I know a way which we can find out. Let's go back in time and see what happened. So Jamstack there without their AD carry gets chased down, and all the spoopy ghosts in the world cannot keep Jamstack safe. I don't know how that happened, but we've got to go back to what's going on right now, because I'm sure there's even more fighting. Void Formula burst by Swirly Panda. Those kills really showing, but Swirly Panda may have bitten off more bamboo than he can chew. Gets knocked away by the monsoon, gets stunned, gets taken out by the True Shot barrage. Maybe Swirly Panda a little too aggressive there. Got the kill, but killed in return, and this could open the door for Exeter to get their first dragons of the game. Even while Plymouth take their first tower of the game, we might well see things even up a bit more. Exeter are still ahead in gold, and a lot of that gold's going over to their AD carry, to Wisher. Shiri in trouble, has no mana, but here comes Nice Dykes. I don't know if they can deal with Golden Scarab though. Good flash keeps Shiri away, but the ticking damage enough to finish the job. Wisher does not walk into the bubble, and the pound of flesh. Spiteful drops the wave. It's too late. Jamstack pressured but not killed. It could be a matter of time. Is it too dangerous for them to stay in the bottom? I think it is. Good management of tower aggro again. Bashar takes a shot, walks away, does a really good job in that fight. Exeter showing a lot of skill there. Very good communication on their part. They knew exactly what they were doing. They played it very, very safe, and there was no real danger for them in that last fight. Golden Scarab turning into a monster that just can't be kept at bay so far. I almost wish we'd seen Nice Dykes go for a frozen fist. Iceborne Gauntlet? I can never remember which one it is now. Just so they have something to try and keep Golden Scarab and Pasha at bay. Dropping the ultimate, but Swirly Panda not able to follow up. Good use of the light binding, keeping him at arm's length. But yeah, I have to think that Plymouth weren't expecting to have to try and fend off as much as they're doing here. Given how the lanes have gone, I mean, my initial assumptions as to how the game would play out were proven entirely incorrect. Because of how powerful Golden Scarab has been so far, and to an extent Bashar as well, it seems like Plymouth are having a lot of trouble in keeping their, what I presume was their initial plan going, of trying to catch a member of the Exeter out and deleting them. It's still obviously on the table for them. Swirly Panda, very, very strong in a big part of that. Spiteful may have been caught out of position though, trying to move between lanes. Swirly Panda is there. Can he get the last bit of damage? No, the monsoon keeps Wisher safe. We do see Nice Dykes trying to make a play onto Void Formula. Gets taken very low, but not quite dead. Bashar is going to try and see if he can change that. The flash! And the barrels do not deter Bashar from finishing off the kill. Swirly Panda, nice knock-up play. The Shiri trades his life for a kill. Void Formula takes the kill, but Bashar does go down. No spree on Bashar's part though. Not quite the one looking for. Jamstack and Wisher in the bottom lane trying to finish off, and it looks like Jamstack's the one who's been caught out. Wisher takes the kill. Their 7th of the game. It's just unbelievable. And I have to feel like Plymouth have lost sight of... I mean, obviously can't say for certain, but it feels like Plymouth have lost sight of what they need to do at this point. Little as I know what that might be, they seem to be very, very reactive right now. And oh, Swirly Panda, that's really, really terrible for the Plymouth Warriors. Swirly Panda, their bright spot of light, getting taken out one-on-one by Void Formula. Perhaps not quite enough respect given across to his often bullied mid lane partner. Is certainly clawing their way back into this now. Has got some items, has got some kills under the belt, actually equaling mid lane kills now. So Plymouth behind in most respects. Huge goal disparity. Nice Stikes dropping the cannon barrage just to be able to walk away from Bashar, who is a monster. We'll see if Exeter will move further into the jungle. They'll try and apply the damage more. Nice Stikes, the possibly premature flash, but responded to. Golden Scarab makes it look easy. Flashes the exchange, and good catch with the Swirly Panda there. Cataclysm finds Golden Scarab underneath the tower. Even though he's dead, he will still keep the Cataclysm there. The kill comes across Bashar, taken down relatively low, but the movement speed allows for Exeter to stay safe. They don't have the minions to push this middle turret quite yet, and Swirly Panda hunting through his jungle, but he may turn out to be the hunted. Void Formula there, trying to catch Swirly Panda out. So much pressure on this mid lane turret. Swirly Panda, if he'd been caught with a Dark Binding, surely would have died. That 7-0 Wisher, so dangerous. Mid lane tower going down with some speed. We'll have to see if Exeter can press this into a second tower. Plymouth are coming out pretty fast from their own base because they do have those Home Guard enhancement automatically. Now we're past the 20-minute mark, but the gold difference absolutely massive, heading up towards 10,000 gold. 5 towers in the favour of Exeter Ambiguous. Plymouth Warriors only managing to pick up 2 so far. At least the small relief, a small bright spot I suppose, maybe is a better way of putting it, for the Plymouth Warriors is they haven't conceded more dragons so far. But it's got to be a matter of time with the amount of turrets that Exeter have taken so far. They're able to more or less roam around the map as they please and really get a death grip on that dragon. And speaking of, it's coming up in moments itself. We'll just have to see if Plymouth commit to try and get this one. Shiri goes in, does not get caught underneath the tower, which was a danger, but able to be pushed away. And here comes the counter-aggression. Exeter come in. Swirly Panda, not quite what they wanted, but still, it could have gone dramatically worse than that for Exeter. It has on previous occasions. Narrowly avoiding what could be the death knell for them in this game. It's so tight. Are they about to walk into Golden Scarab? No, they're not. But Golden Scarab's so tanky. That Dead Man's Plate and that Black Cleaver, making it very difficult for Exeter to get through. For Plymouth to get through. Exeter take their second dragon of the game. And I don't know if the game's going to go on long enough for this to really be an issue for either team. But still, it's showing how dominant Exeter are in this game. They're able to take it with pretty much no reply whatsoever from Plymouth. Sensibly enough, I suppose. Plymouth not wanting to risk too much to try and hold on to it. Oh, the catch onto Harry! Harpoon Harry drops the Monsoon, and Bashar makes sure that Ace in the Hole does not get anything. Still, this is an opportunity, not necessarily a hugely big one for Plymouth. Please excuse me. To make a play, they have a small advantage. Are they going to press it? We see Plymouth moving up towards Exeter's mid lane turret. They just don't quite have the minions, and the counter aggression from Exeter all too real. Void Formula gets caught though. Has to flash out of there. Wisher. This is slowly going in Plymouth's favour. It's a little hard to say if, I mean, well, given how far ahead Exeter are, this could turn around at any moment, especially if something happens like one of their characters getting caught. They don't really have anybody they want to throw in front of the freight train that is Exeter at the moment to take that apprehend, to take those early stuns. Wisher goes really hard. I don't know what he was thinking. And that's a bunch of gold back over to Exeter, who desperately... That's Plymouth. I'm very, very sorry for getting the names of the teams wrong. For the cities of the teams wrong, even. Plymouth able to push this further. They get their second... Oh no, even the third turret again, excuse me. Giving them a lot of gold back in their pocket. The gold not quite as drastic between the two teams as it was before. From only about 6k at the moment, which, considering the difference in the amount of kills on each team, not as bad as it could have been. Exeter continue to press their advantage, pushing into the Plymouth bottom jungle. Jamstack could be in trouble, gets nearly caught, but it could be turned around. Harpy and Harry again trying to use the monsoon to keep themselves safe, but this time it doesn't happen. They get taken out, and small things happening for Plymouth that, to be honest, by all rights, probably shouldn't be happening. But Exeter may be getting a little bit overconfident with their advantage and giving away a couple of kills they shouldn't be giving away. Particularly in the case of Wisher, who presumably felt invincible enough to dive right into the Plymouth team and pay the price for it. Golden Scarab, nice knock up there. Spiteful keeping the engagement happening, but it's so tight. Shuri gets taken. But that's more or less worked out right for them. Plymouth are being able to keep the right distance, and they are chewing on the Exeter team, able to push them down and get the damage they need. They could potentially turn this into another turret, which would be amazing for them. The wave clear mostly in the hands of Void Formula, who's going to be going back at this point, so there's a decent chance for Plymouth to get some damage down this turret. Can they do it, or is the potential counter engage from Exeter going to force them away? It looks like the wave has been cleared, so they're going to have to wait quite a long time for any more minions to turn up, and that's going to allow for Exeter to get healed up, to come back in and make this more of an even fight. Applying that, especially with the recalls being allowed for, they're going to be able to make even more use of that gold difference. Getting those items. Wisher, of course, building Essence Reader. And I'm going to check the name of the darn item. It's the Iceborne Gauntlet. It used to be a Frozen Fist. The Iceborne Gauntlet and the Essence Reaver, along with the eventually Muramana, can allow for massive quantities of damage and more or less unlimited mana themselves. Plymouth merely doing cleanup duty at the moment, making sure none of their minions, none of their potential little pieces of gold go to waste. Still, Exeter keep a very strong hold on the Plymouth bottom side jungle. A very dangerous place for Plymouth to be venturing with any of their members. Still, they've been playing these last fights pretty well, and we'll have to see if Exeter can catch anyone out. Shuri manages to get away. Spiteful in trouble, gets knocked up. Are they going to blow the... No, Swirly Panda gets taken out. And that's really painful for Plymouth, who are losing frankly, their strongest member. Exeter look like they may be thinking about turning this into a 30-minute Baron. Certainly going to allow them to catch up on some of that lost gold lead. But can the Plymouth Warriors do anything about it is the question. We do see the Plymouth Warriors in the jungle. Can they push through this any further? They have blown some abilities already coming up to this fight. And Exeter are trying to aggress onto them. They have got that Rift Herald to give them that bit of extra movement between. Nice Strikes in trouble. A good bubble from Spiteful, keeping their teammates safe. Cataclysm catches Bashar. Can they get the damage down? It looks like they can. Spiteful could be being eaten by the Golden Scarab. Nice Strikes through the base gates, who's got a huge relief. Is the damage there to deal with Golden Scarab? It's very, very tight. Golden Scarab so tanky. Has that shield. But no, they take the kill. The kill is traded. Swirly Panda walks right into the binding, so cannot pursue any further. Still, it could have gone a lot worse for the Plymouth Warriors. The gold difference remains roughly the same. No Baron in the pocket. Oh, that is very surprising. I think the Plymouth Warriors are caught off guard by a Wild Wisher appearing in that bush. I think, as is might be sensible, they assumed there would be some more of the Exeter team there. But so far, Wisher still showing some very aggressive tendencies, which could potentially cost Exeter team. That happens too many times. Or if Plymouth decide to punish them a little bit more. We'll see though. I mean, at this point, honestly, Wisher ahead with 8 kills. They're doing something right. But in similar fashion to Swirly Panda, if Wisher does get taken out of these team fights, that's pretty massive for them. For Plymouth. Though, I feel like the Exeter, with their extra kills, have their damage spread out a little bit more. Certainly in the case of the Squishy members, Golden Scarab are able to chase them down with impunity, but as Darius is wont to do, very vulnerable to being kited. As Swirly Panda gets caught, nice drop off the ultimate. Shah gets knocked up, but it's still so tanky. It's really hard to get them down. Teleport coming in from Golden Scarab keeps Plymouth at bay. And if anything, I'm impressed how well it went for Plymouth, considering how far behind they were. In a relatively even engage, we could see another catch. She's able to walk this one away. Bubble doesn't connect with Golden Scarab, but he still flashes away, afraid of the damage from the Plymouth Warriors, which is pretty surprising. Spoopy Ghost being deployed. We might see some kind of follow-up. It looks like they were merely scouting ghosts, and the wave cleared with a great amount of efficiency on the part of the Plymouth Warriors, able to keep Exeter from pressing the advantage any further for now. And we'll have to see if Exeter can catch out any members of the Warriors and force this turret. Nice use of the Lux Ultimate, taking down a chunk of Swirly Panda's health, but it doesn't seem to make too much of a difference. Jamstack is a little bit too far forward, perhaps. In danger of potentially getting flash caught, though Golden Scarab doesn't have the flash right now. So Exeter don't have quite as many options as they do normally. Spiteful keeping the team topped up with those heals. Has that Mikhail's Crucible to try and keep caught teammate a little bit safer if they do get tied up. But Jamstack still relatively low. The Apprehend again misses, and I have to think that this is playing into the favour of the Plymouth team. True Shot Barrage comes out, Spiteful taken very low, but still the heals are on the side of the Plymouth team. And it doesn't feel like Exeter are accomplishing a huge amount right now. If, of course, they can get the catch onto a member of the Plymouth team, they can take this tower with impunity. But so far, the longer the game goes, the better it is for Plymouth. No serious damage really being taken by the Exeter team so far, so perhaps they can just win the war of attrition. The poke certainly overwhelming the amount of sustain that Spiteful is able to apply to her team. Trusha Barrage comes out again and again, takes a chunk out. Lux not able to quite finish the job, but it's not looking great for Plymouth, who might need to give up on this tower. They do, they are falling back. Their tower is falling over. And wow! The damage on Swirly Panda, a slight misstep from Void Formula, and that was it. Let's take a quick look back at what happened there. Yep. All they were was a little bit too far forward, looking for a little bit of extra damage and got punished severely for it. Items are starting to appear seriously in Swirly Panda's inventory. Interesting choice going for the Abyssal Scepter. Swirly Panda looking to try and strip away some of that magic resist from the Exeter team. I assume in order to deal with the more tankier members in Golden Scarab and Bashar, who coincidentally are roaming together looking to try and find that surefire kill, and they might have just found it. We do see the two teams starting to converge on that jungle side. Yep, they found Shiri. The jump is there, but the apprehend is going to be a follow-up. Shiri has very few places to go. Can the Plymouth Warriors find a way to save them? They cannot. Shiri perhaps pushed too far. Certainly wasn't able to deny the chasing power Exeter are able to bring to bear. And again, the Baron has been brought up. No pink order in the Baron pit though, and no sweep either. So Exeter are on. The fact that Exeter are doing Baron is well known about by the Plymouth Warriors. The question, of course, being, can they do anything about it? Swirly Panda takes maybe a step too far. Has to blow the flash to try and stay safe, and it's so dangerous for the Plymouth Warriors here. They don't quite have it, or do they? The red Exeter do take that Baron Nashor. Golden Scarab able to beat the Terror, and Lux Laser not quite able to take out Swirly Panda. Nice Dykes and Bashar fighting each other. Nice Dykes thinking that perhaps discretion is a better valor, and absolutely would be right to think so. A lot of bursts, surprising amount of burst damage, but speaking of surprising bursts, there goes down IV Formula. Swirly Panda has been a terror all game with that burst damage, especially. Well, though it's only moderately effective on the tankier targets on the Exeter team. Absolute murder to Exeter's squishy AD carry and mid laner, who just cannot stand up to that much damage at all. The Rabadon's death cap is in, sitting atop Swirly Panda's head right now, so rocking a whole heap of extra damage, and we could see the third dragon of the game actually going across to the Plymouth team, which is really surprising considering how badly the game was going for them. Still, the gold lead very heavily in the favour of the Exeter Ambiguous team. Still, as the game progresses, as people start to get closer to those finished item pools, gold going to become less and less relevant. So, I certainly commend the Plymouth team for staying competitive in this game, which looked like it was all but done for quite an extended period of time. I have to think perhaps, to some degree, the confidence this was giving the Exeter team has opened some windows for Plymouth, but at the same time, I certainly don't want to devalue the standard of play from both sides, who've both been working super hard. There we go, Exeter are moving into the Plymouth base, knocking over the towers. Surely can't be denied from this inhibitor. Can Plymouth take down Golden Scarab though, as he denies any attempt at stopping that inhibitor from being taken? Good use of the Baron buff by Exeter, pushing it into the Plymouth base, taking that inhibitor, pushing the game towards being over before that gold difference starts to become irrelevant. Plymouth are here to try and respond to this, and it doesn't look like perhaps this is a serious attempt by Exeter to press down a second inhibitor this game, as they scatter to start farming the jungle, picking up those red buffs. And for now, a small period of quiet between the violent, the brief periods of very intense team fighting. We do see most of. I'm looking around to see between on these teams who's lacking the most for items, and I suppose it would make sense for it to be our good friend Nice Dykes, who's having such a tough time up in the top lane. Still has that Triforce, has that Infinity Edge. I don't know if that's a mistake or not on his part. Going for the more heavy damage focused build with the Infinity Edge rather than going for a more tanky option. I mean, it certainly has a Stereox gauge, given that extra bit of health, but without those resistances, it's tough to say. We do see the Frozen Heart being completed by Spiteful. That's going to be pretty massive, considering the Wisher and Bashar are both going to be at least it's terrible when you have a thought and you rethink it halfway through. Both going to suffer for the reduction in attack speed. Jamstack does not get caught. Really important for the Plymouth Warriors there, as they go through and try and wave clear, making sure the second inhibitor does not get pushed down. The wave clear very good, but it could just be Exeter keeping them busy while the minions pushing the top lane. They can't all stay down here because the minions are starting to press into the Plymouth Nexus. They've cleared the minion wave though. They have the brief moment to go back and try and clear that. Make sure there's not too much damage. Jamstack could have been in trouble for a moment. Able to 90 caliber net away. Is the wave clear enough to keep Exeter at bay on this turret? It looks like Exeter not fully willing to commit unless they catch someone. And so far, it seems like that's playing in the favour of Plymouth, who could be in a lot more trouble if the issue was pressed. But equally, it could be argued that Exeter playing the very careful long game, trying to make sure they don't make that mistake that allows for Plymouth to come back into this game. And it's so easy to lose. There's multiple turrets. Exeter pushing past the Plymouth turret. And we'll see what comes of this. Swirly Panda in trouble. All of that damage in danger. The turret's surely going to go down. Bashar blocking the shot for his comrade. Swirly Panda. Plymouth could be in a lot of trouble. Jamstack, nice use of the Mikhails from Spiteful, keeping her AD carry alive. Can they get the last bit of damage in? Golden Scarab healing for so much. With Void Formula, Swirly Panda knows where he's going to be. Can't quite get the damage in. He's keeping his distance from Golden Scarab, who's so dangerous. Swirly Panda, can he kill off Wisher? No. We're seeing an X team very low, but the inhibitor did go down during that exchange, and that's all the Exeter really wanted. A very tight fight, but ultimately going out in their favour. And it seems like Exeter going for the slow and steady approach, leveraging the gold advantages to force these fights, which are going in their favour. It doesn't seem like Plymouth have quite figured out how to deal with the sheer amount of bulk that's coming at them in the form primarily of Golden Scarab. Looking through the item choices, we do see, I believe, I'll have a quick check. Yep, the Lord Dominic's Regards coming out for Jamstack, giving that bit of extra damage against those beefier targets. But still, so hard to deal, especially with a Thornmail wielding Golden Scarab. Distance kept by Plymouth for now, but it's going to be tight as we see the Exeter team setting up around Baron area. Baron spawns in, and they have a pretty reasonable position to go for this one. Still, it feels like Exeter have a lot to lose if this does go wrong. Jamstack's certainly starting to output a reasonable amount of damage, has that rapid fire cannon so can fight from extreme long range. Swirly Panda does not get caught yet, but where is the rest of his team? Certainly not there. Swirly Panda goes down, is able to put some damage in, but that's a big loss, a huge death timer, and it's going to be a heartbreaker for Plymouth if that's all it was going to take for them to lose this game, which they fought so hard to stay in. Inhibitor being threatened, it's going to surely go down in no time whatsoever. Can they mount a heroic defense? It's going to be so difficult. Golden Scarab going to be able to shrug off tower shots for quite a long time. Harpoon Harry getting taken down relatively low. Damage is still coming out from the Plymouth Warriors. The towers are getting knocked on by Bashar, which seems so important. Nice Dykes able to walk away from a Lux Laser. Harpoon Harry getting taken solo, but I don't know if this is what they want to be spending resources trying to kill. Shari not even able to finish off Harpoon Harry. That's got to be difficult for the Plymouth Warriors to deal with, but it looks like it's very much all over. Nice Sights goes down. Jamstack able to just get away. Nexus isn't down yet. The question is if Exeter are going to finish the job properly, and it's down to Harpoon Harry to get the job done. Really, really intense game from both teams. Whew. Certainly, Exeter in a very commanding position for a very long time. I think, to an extent, perhaps taking their feet off the pedal for a little bit of the mid-game, but I think becoming aware that there was some potential for them to actually lose the game as time went on and Plymouth started to find their feet a little better. As to issues for the Plymouth side, which caused them so much trouble, it does seem like the Gangplank matchup against the Darius certainly seems to be the biggest leak as far as their strategy went, allowing for Golden Scarab to be an absolute monster in that game. Well, later on this evening we'll hopefully be following the Plymouth Warriors into their next game, but for now I'll bid you guys adieu and have a nice evening.